Love and light, my friends. The beauty and tranquility and wholeness of just sitting right here and listening. Is quite wonderful. Are you on the path? Can you stay the course? Can you detangle from the matrix? And the simulation? Can we understand why we're in a simulation and not the real thing, as it were? And in this case, the real thing is going to mean non-duality. When you graduate from duality, you'll be back in non-duality. Non-duality gives us a host of things to work with. Time, space, contrast. And there's either something you need to learn that you haven't, or there's something you want to learn that you feel like you need. And in some cases, you're just dealing with karma from stuff done in past lives. So there's no set reason for why you're here. There is a reason, but there's not a set reason, meaning it doesn't apply this equally to everybody. Some people have already ascended and come back. Some people are ascending for the first time. Interesting, at least to me. I find it interesting that this dualistic realm has been taken over, it's quite clear, by some sort of force we'll call a dark force or an evil force. Because there's so much evil things as well as good things. I don't know if it's 50-50. I think just because of where the human avatar's mind chooses to focus, we tend to focus on negativity or shock and awe. And so therefore you hear many stories, especially if you tune into news. They're definitely wanting to remind you of the bad side of humanity. And I guess because we like to think about justice, that maybe we feel like we need to hear about those horrible stories and those horrible people, because we also are looking to discover and hear about justice, like what was done to the person that killed the little kid or whatever. Like, what did the mob do to that person when they got a hold of them? Or what did the justice system do? Or what did the jury decide? And so we feel a little bit better about the horror because of the justice. But then we don't feel like the justice is really true justice, because how do you replace someone's little daughter or son? Or how do you replace their innocence if they lived through it and now they're potentially damaged for life if they cannot find the means and mechanisms to cope with the trauma? So I just said all that part just to tie in of why I think the simulation has been hacked by some sort of evil. And I'm pretty sure now, at this point in the game, I'm pretty sure that the egregor that was created, and let's just, I guess, by dark magicians, let's just say that, people that were dabbling in dark arts, if you want to call that crap art. And so they created this idea, manipulated people into believing in it and buying into it, and that then gave this created idea actual legs. And see, we've created they created two egregors. It's a two-faced egregor. It's a two-faced God. One of its faces is supposedly the good side, Jehovah. One of its faces is supposedly the bad side, Satan. But really, this is the same egregor, and if not, it functions the same. So if it is two different entities, it might be. I really don't know. All I can go by is what I see and hear, and what I see and hear is a lot of human activity that tries to give credit to this idea that there's no proof for, no substance, nothing really there at all other than belief, blind faith. And we give credit. So it's like playing the blame game. If you did or let's say not you, but somebody, you heard about somebody doing some horrible thing, then you could say, well, they were possessed by Satan. And if there's somebody, you hear about somebody doing some wonderful good thing, you might think, oh, well, they are blessed by Jehovah to do such a thing. So these egregors function a lot like alcohol. Whereas the more of this you drink, the more influenceable and under the influence you become. There's a big pine tree right there. Really big. I'm going to walk up to it just so you can see it better. So, and I'm going to go see what the sign on this old oak tree is. This, from what I understand, this is an old farm that used to be a farm. It's now in the middle of, oh, I forgot, coming at you today from Cary, North Carolina. So, that's the base of the pine tree. Beauty. My God, man, you're awesome. Really cool. I think the signs are just faded. They ain't gonna have nothing on them. So, are you under the influence, or do you know people that are under the influence? Welcome to our humble farm. What's that say in the fine print? No egregors here. Oh, good. Nice. Nice. There's I think that's a white oak, yeah. It's a white oak right there. And we'll just mosey on down to this water pond here, but see if we can wrangle up an alligator or something. So I go on about this. I'm gonna have to just stay with this. I gotta stay the course. That's one thing I realize everybody should realize about their life is you have some sort of a mission, you have some sort of a purpose, and it wasn't pre-planned by an egregor. It was more pre-planned by your higher self, which is you. But it might be a version of you that you're not familiar with, or very familiar with. And you've been trained and duped. Oh, there's some ducks. Hey fellas, I'm not gonna bug you. I'm not gonna bother you guys. It's a version of you that you may not be familiar with. And we have been duped into giving credit for anything our higher self does or did or reminds us of, again, to go to some egregor. And the two-faced egregor. So if it's something good, the happy face side of the egregor gets credit, and if it's something bad, well, then the negative face side of the egregor gets credit. Hard to see them on the darn screen, but I know they're over there. There they are. I think that's, yeah. Hey guys. Love and light to you, my friends. See, everything is conscious. Everything is conscious. And consciousness. At one time in your past, you were a duck. Almost guaranteed. At one time in your past, you were a tree. Almost guaranteed. And you were many other things. And you've come on down the line or up the line or across time and space to where you are now. And, excuse me, we will continue, another really big, we will continue this journey. But I think it's critical that we realize at some point that this journey is not just haphazard and you're just sort of like a leaf in the river and the river's just taking you to wherever. You got nothing you can do as a leaf except just go with the flow. And I'm not saying we don't go with the flow. Definitely do go with the flow, but go with the flow. Go with... whoa. I'm sliding down the mud bank here. Hope I don't get muddy. Go with the flow in such a way... How am I trying to say this? It's weird talking about all this because it's always two things. And they seem to be opposite. Go with the flow, but don't go with the flow. Be thankful for your blessings, but don't thank an egregor. So it's like, no matter what you say, no matter what a person says, there's always a disclaimer that has to go with whatever is said. Clarification needs to be made because we just assume things based on our programming and our mind control programs that we're under at any given time. You're going to be under the spell of different programs at different times, meaning different times in this life and different times in different lives. But see, eventually we start to figure all this out. We start to remember all this, and then that one of the first things you do is you stop being a victim, because you can't take any kind of charge over your experience, your reality, your life, if you're feeling like you're a victim. And there's nothing wrong with feeling like you're a victim if some horrible experience has been your experience. It's, you're gonna feel like shit if some terrible shit's been happening to you or happened to you. That's normal. What's not normal is to get stuck in that resonance and then feel like, well, I'm for the rest of my life going to be stuck in this particular resonance of feeling like a victim, feeling like I have no control over not anything external, but just your own self, just your own thoughts, just your own mind, just your own heart, just your own ability to love or not love. And nobody wants to feel that way. And so you don't have to. But see, you don't know that you don't have to for so long, because nobody talks like this. I mean, people do now. People are starting to more. But not so long ago, people just didn't talk like this, because if they did, the listeners would say, well, this dude's kind of crazy, or this woman is kind of nuts. And so rather than wanting to feel like everybody thinks you're nuts, you just sort of just keep it to yourself, don't say nothing or whatever, just deal with it. See, that's what's so trip about this reality and this world. Seemingly you're all alone, yet you're surrounded by all these people. You got all these friends, family members, co-workers, neighbors, all these different people. And yet, I guarantee you, for the majority of you, you feel pretty alone. You feel pretty isolated. So again, you see the disclaimer of you're surrounded by all these people, so you must not be alone, but yet you feel alone. So there's the paradox, there's the contrast, there's the seeming opposites existing in the same space. And then we're back to where we started. Yet again, because everything cycles. I guess the thing would be is getting ourselves cycling in a good cycle or on a good cycle. And transitioning out of cycles that are not good, don't feel good, don't produce love and joy and peace and happiness and contentment. Like, are you content right now? And if you're not, what are you not content about? And see, today is Valentine's Day, and so a lot of people are thinking about loved ones, or boyfriend, or girlfriend, or mate. And see, a lot of people do not feel content because they don't have that special person that they're sharing life with. And really what that special person that you're sharing your life with does for you is that it brings out your personality. It brings out things about you that you just don't even consciously think about, but intuitively you just know that, man, if I had a girlfriend or a wife or a woman, then I would be whatever it is. It could be anything. It could be anything. But those things are important for you and your growth and your development and your understanding. And so seemingly not having that other person gives you cause to not really attend to that part of self. Now, is that an excuse? Or is that something deeper than excuse? Like, is that, like, what would be deeper than an excuse for not doing something for self that you know you should do? That could be depressed, that could come from depression. So maybe you just are depressed about some of these facts that don't feel good and that you don't like. And so in that depression, you just say the heck with it. And so you just don't even worry about showering every day. Maybe you'll just shower every third day or fourth day. Or whatever. Like I said, it could be anything. I'm just throwing that out. It could be whatever, but we're at the point of advancing spiritually, and we have now tools, or more tools. I guess we've always had tools, but we just got so damn lost. Let's just all be honest and face it and real about it. We got completely lost in the matrix, especially when we entered this dualistic realm where egregors seem to rule from some unseen throne of twisted weirdness, and you get all these mixed messages, all these mixed feelings. Your heart never really settles. Your heart never really feels safe. Your heart never really feels calm. And you never really are sure about too much. And that throws things out of whack. The gyroscope is wobbling wildly and seemingly about to just fall over. Because the heart likes to be sure. The heart likes to be solid. The heart likes to be open. The heart likes to be trusting. The heart likes to exude and experience love. Both ways, give and receive. And in this reality, that seemingly is contradicted all the time. So the mixed messages confuse the being until we finally just kind of give up and say, well, let's just go to a belief system, because then everything's already laid out, all the rules are already there, and I don't really have to think or feel about it. I can just go with the flow, like the leaf in the river that has no say or very little say, very little control about the destiny of